I've played a lot of FIFA this year. The game's been out for a month, and honestly it's quite sad to realise that on average I've played about 4 hours a day. But I've also been a fan of FIFA career mode for 20 years, and I do make content based on the game mode, so I thought you might be interested to know what I honestly think about the game this year. How is career mode? Is it still fun despite not changing too much? What are the bugs like, and what things still need improving if FC25 is going to beat a 10 out of 10 game? Well, I'm going to try and answer all of these questions in today's video. So, is FIFA career mode playable this year? I would say yes. Career mode has bugs, but they've mostly been fixed. In fact, the patches haven't just fixed things, but they've also added entire new features. Patch 3 let us add suspensions and injuries at the start of saves, so things like when Luis Suarez was banned for biting Chiellini, that could be easily added to any career mode save straight away. As of this review, we've still not had live start points added, but I can see that will probably have bugs to begin with and probably get patched pretty quickly as well. So about a week ago, I asked my community what they thought about FC25, and while the FUT subreddit has a meltdown about how bad gameplay and menus is in Ultimate Team, it turns out that the career mode fans are having a pretty nice time this year. I fully agree with this, and I've not enjoyed playing a career mode this much for years. Of course, this opinion will change as always as we play more of FC25, and here's the FC24 results for comparison at the exact same point of the game. It's surprisingly close for a game that I think people enjoy versus a game that people didn't really like. Anyway, so what else is new in FC25? Well, I really do think that Rush is a really good addition for both career mode and Ultimate Team, but it is a shame it doesn't really do too much in career mode. It's the sort of feature you might use 1 or 2 times, but as I said in another video, its best use is probably to find the exact potential of your players, which you can see in the performance screen right here if you have the correct pre-save setting on. That's actually convenient we've just mentioned pre-save settings, because we're going to talk about how career mode is this year, and that's going to be a big part of one of the biggest benefits. So, it's definitely had changes this year, but the gameplay loop is still very similar. You know, you pick a team, you buy a player, you play a match, you might do your academy, play another match over and over again until you decide to start a new save. So career mode is still basically the same. It's really good if you like developing young players, and it's quite bad if you want any kind of realism from the AI. However, you can now change so many settings before you even start your save that you can get closer to realism than any other career mode game. If you're not a fan of realism and you like doing really unrealistic stuff every now and then, of course, you can change the settings so that you don't have to bother scouting, you can see everyone's overalls, or your players develop twice as fast, and you have unlimited money with a transfer takeover. There's so many options you can do in this to make it either more realistic or just more fun for you. So is the game actually still fun after all of these years? Well, the same things are still very fun, but if you didn't like them on FC24, you probably won't like them on FC25. There's also still some issues that do reduce the amount of fun, like there's no realism with transfers, managers and tactics are static for all 15 years, and the AI is pretty bad at actually building squads. I talked about this in one of my other videos, but you will often find AI teams that only have 4 defenders, but have about 15 strikers and 20 midfielders. If EA could just fix this, then I do think that career mode would probably be a 10 out of 10 game this year. Also, I think career mode really does need some new leagues and some new teams to make some new experiences, because I think it's about time an African league gets added, or why not add something like Canada so North America has a few more leagues too. So, we've talked about the career mode and we talked about how fun it is this year, but you might have also seen some pretty bad bugs. In fact, I've done an entire video where I just talked about the bugs in depth, and thankfully most of these have now changed. Diving and heading accuracy had their generations reversed on youth academy players, so goalkeepers were really good at heading, but couldn't actually do diving. Outfield players were actually decent in goal, but couldn't head a ball. Thankfully that has now been sorted, but you do kinda have to wonder how a bug like that even ends up in a finished product for as long as it did in FC25. You might have also seen some pretty funny player faces coming out the youth academy and seen people talking about how some youth nations only have a single surname. Thankfully this is kind of fixed because EA has made the player faces slightly better and has also added a ton of new names to some of the newest nations on the game. Not every bug has been fixed though. Sometimes you can see men's clubs appearing in the female Champions League, but that is kind of rare, and I don't think there's any game-breaking bugs in the game at the moment. So what things still need improving? Well, like we said before, more teams and more leagues would be absolutely amazing. There's only so many times you can play with the same teams, and I think it's been about 3 years since a new league got added, and that was the Italian second division. That was only added because we also lost the Japanese and Mexican leagues, and that's two very interesting leagues that have been gone from FIFA for a few years. I think a more in-depth system for your academy and your reserves would also be very, very nice. It doesn't matter if you have to play competitive matches with them, or if you could just simulate this league so that you can see how good your players are compared to other teams in your division. Of course, this is how academy football works in real life. Things like the Premier League 2 could easily be licensed, I'm sure, under the Premier League license that EA already has, and then you can just have reserve teams playing against each other where you could probably manage them if you were really interested. Also, I would really love if you could have real rules and restrictions for the league. So MLS is the biggest one, I think, where they have the salary cap, they have the draft. None of this is actually in the game. It plays like any other league on the game. So if real rules and restrictions could be added, I think it would make realism really, really fun. And of course, the biggest thing that still needs improving is better AI. So someone like Manchester United will be competitive probably until about 2035, but then you still have another 5 years after that where every single team in the Premier League will be rated about 79 in every single position. It makes the AI a bit annoying to play against, and if you do really, really long saves, then the only way to have any kind of competition in the Champions League is if you start moving around clubs and rebuilding them yourselves. Tactics again could also be pretty interesting, and there are some sliders this year which allow the AI to make changes to their tactics, but this is done semi-randomly, so sometimes they'll prefer to build up, sometimes they'll prefer to just counter-attack, sometimes they prefer to do a lot of long shots, and sometimes they'll be really aggressive with their tackles. This is all done via random sliders, and you can actually adjust them if there's a combination you really like playing against. But I think this could definitely be improved by allowing AI to change formations, change tactics, even if it's just from a preset list, like the ones you get while you're playing the matches. So, for my final review, overall, I would probably agree with the poll that we put out on our community post. FC25 Career Mode is somewhere between a 3 and a 5 star, and I would probably say it's probably about a 4.3 out of 5. This is the highest I've ever rated a career mode in one of these review videos, and I really do recommend, if you can get this game somehow pretty cheap, maybe in the Steam sales coming up, or on EA Play if you have that on PC or Xbox, then definitely do give it a go. It's worth the upgrade from FC24, and if you're playing one of the older FIFA games like FIFA 21 or FIFA 22, this is a massive step forward and definitely worth giving a try. But thank you for watching. Hopefully you can leave your review of the game in the comments below. Really would be cool to read those, and I'll see you soon. Cheers and goodbye.